a lot to be known about people. Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
You got to be ready to throw a punch. You have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have punched him in the face.
I feel like punching him.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now.
Okay.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about these boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 770 cities around the world. We just finished 15 years of broadcast excellence. Now in our 16th year, the Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. And you wonder why Trump has survived 2 attempts on his life? You know, it's not just Trump. What about his beautiful wife, his children and grandchildren? Besides the evil Dem rhetoric, what do they have to do with huge holes in Trump's Secret Service protection over the Bidens and Harris, and now Tampon Tim? They are calling this kind of assassination talk as normal because they don't like Trump. Trump, as you may or may not know, was a Democrat at one time, just like Ronald Reagan, who coincidentally was also shot and seriously wounded. What would it be like if MAGA Trump supporters talked this kind of murder dialogue like Dems and their assassination attacks followed? I'm not talking about the fraud fake attack on January 6, 2021, which we are going to get into in depth with our interview with Jeff Zink. That was a setup, and it's fallen apart. The only person who died that day was Ashley Babbitt, honored Air Force veteran, and it was by the head of the D.C. police, Michael Byrd. She was murdered by him, and he's never been tried for it. Back to Trump. The Dems are still talking the talk to any assassins out there, seemingly waiting for another of their crazy fans to jump on an unprotected roof or bring a picnic to Trump golf course with your AR pointed at him through a hole in the fence. You know, Trump also has children who like to play golf with him. And the first assassin killed a Trump supporter who was lying on top of his wife and children to protect them. Democrats, stop this now, or you may just avoid a civil war.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
People will do what they do.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch,
I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the
Well, this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. And for those of you who are soldiers, make them pay.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
This is a fight for our lives, the lives of our friends and family members and neighbors. It is a fight, and it is a fight that we're going to work to make sure continues. It's a fight. It is a fight. It is a fight, and that's what this fight is for.
Well, I'm wired to fight anyone who isn't doing their job for us. I'm John Tester, and you're damn right. I approve this message.
And I'll have lots of fights ahead of us, and I'm ready to stand up and keep fighting. We have to fight. We're going to fight. We're going to fight. We need to fight, and we need to fight. We're going to fight. We got a few more fights. We're going to take the privilege of a few more fights, and we have the biggest fight of all. I will never stop fighting. I will fight like hell.
You know, I don't remember this kind of trash talking unless it was playing football when I was in high school. A lot of trash talking went on then. Okay. And we all knew that was part of the game. These people think that it's their right to put people in jeopardy like that. They think now that this is over, so to speak, the second assassination is over, they're going to keep doing it, and now they're going to blame Trump, and they are. They're blaming Trump. You have too many people at your rallies. It's just too bad that you say the wrong things at the wrong time. You're evil. You've been convicted. You're a convicted felon. Oh, that's a favorite of Kamala's, the cackler. Did you recognize the cackler in there? My God.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
horrible.
Unbelievable. I mean, her and her, we got a lot of, well, let's put it this way. Let me introduce the show. We got a great show for you. We've got J.J. Bradshaw coming on shortly. We got Rabbi Moshe Rothschild at 8:40. That's going to be something because we got lots of interesting new news there, obviously. We have a mystery man, Richard Lockwood, who has been on the show before. And we're going to look into the not the illegal aliens that you're used to talking about, but space aliens and what they're doing here, if they are here, and how has our technology changed because of them. And also, we're going to have Don Mayhew back for another week, an all-time record for him to be here 2 weeks in a row. And finally, Jeff Zink. Jeff Zink we had to tape his segment because he will be in a courtroom in D.C., or he's scheduled to be in D.C. this morning to see the future of his son, who was convicted and then had the charges dropped when the Supreme Court dropped its judgment on what was going on with the 1-6ers. All right, this is really something. This is history in the making right now, and he's going there, and maybe we're going to hear a little bit of maybe better temperament from the judge. That's what I'm hoping for, because they've all been shut down. They're releasing people, and as they're releasing people from the gulag in D.C., they are arresting more. Even if you were in D.C. and you're a Republican, doesn't matter where you were. All right, they will arrest you. Okay, and following the Rabbi and Richard Lockwood, we've got, and following Don Mayhew, we have Jeff Zink. So it's going to be a great show. And I see my first guest there with, he's wearing his tin yarmulke on. And he is an expert on the over the Constitution, especially the Second and First Amendments. Please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Good morning, JJ. How are you?
Well, good morning, Dave. I just screwed up here, and I need to get StreamYard back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, I can't see you, but we can do this without, I suppose.
Well, seeing me is not a big deal. Now, seeing my wife, that's another thing.
Well, we won't go any further into that.
All right.
Say, it's very interesting to me that Ms. Harris, if you'd like to talk briefly about the debate, David Muir and Lindsay Davis, the moderators of the debate, have been thoroughly beat up of late by a whole bunch of people that I wouldn't think would beat them up. They were clearly in favor of Ms. Harris and clearly against Mr. Trump. And that ends up being a very interesting piece there. What are they going to do? ABC is getting beat up by this thing. And look what Ms. Harris has done since. She's been in hiding. She has answered no definitive questions, has answered nothing about policies. And then she does a little puff piece with Oprah that ended up being kind of a disaster too, because it was clear it was all scripted. So let's talk for a moment about her positions. If we look at her previous positions before she was vice president, and she says she's evolving, kind of like Obama did. Let's take a look at those right quick. At one time, she wanted to decriminalize border crossings. She was for that. Electric vehicle mandates, she was for that. Private health care, she was against that. Defund the police, she was for that. Fracking, she was against that. And now she's come back and said, well, I've kind of changed my mind on this stuff. I'm evolving, kind of like Obama said he was evolving. And then at the debate, she said, don't get me wrong, we're not coming for your guns. Well, Dave, there is a May 2007 clip of video when she was DA who said exactly that. Yeah, we're going to come for your guns. We'll march into your house and make sure your guns are stored in a safe and responsible manner. Dave, sounds like the woman's a liar. What do you think?
But she's got her standards. You see, she's never left her standards, which is apparently, now that we know what she's doing, is we do have her standards. Her standards are to lie. I mean, it's to lie about everything she's ever done, just about, except say, I grew up in a middle class family, which we don't know about, and that she worked at McDonald's, which I don't remember personally, and people are attacking me for that.
Well, she said that everybody in her neighborhood had a nice lawn. Well, gee, Dave, that makes you presidential right off, doesn't it?
That's why I'm never going to make it. Although my wife is doing a great job. If I have another life to live after this one with my wife, obviously, she's keeping the lawn really good. So I got a shot at it.
Oh. Well, Dave.
Wait, that's a bad thing to say these days, isn't it?
Actually fairly.
I can't say that anymore.
Let's talk about politics a little more, because actually this is a political show, kind of right-wing conservative politics, but I'm all for that. The Teamsters, the Teamsters hierarchy, their management has been in bed with the Democrats for decades. And since Bill Clinton, the Teamsters have reliably endorsed Democrat candidates, both at the state, local, and presidential level, the national level. And a little bit of polling got done, and it turns out the rank and file of the Teamsters, 59.6% of them endorsed Donald J. Trump. 31% endorse Harris, and then there's about 11% that claim that they are undecided. So what is the Teamsters management to do? If they endorse the Democrats, who they've been in bed with for decades, they may have a riot on their hands with the rank and file. The rank and file already in the Teamsters says they don't really trust the Teamsters management and haven't for a decade or so. Clearly corrupt. So the Teamsters management did the Democrat thing to do, and they came out and said they endorsed no one for president. No one.
Yeah, interesting, because what they're doing is kind of a double standard. Because if it was for the Biden and or in this case it would be for Kamala and Tampon Tim, they would automatically endorse them if their union voted for that. And now they're not going to endorse anybody, but that's a big problem for Kamala and Tampon.
It's a great benefit to Trump, who came out and said, well, the fact is that they did not endorse Kamala Harris is by de facto an endorsement for him. And I think he's pretty right. It was an amazement to me that the Teamsters came out and did this. I, of course, expected them to endorse any Democrat. If you put a donkey up there on the stage, they would endorse it.
Well, that's all over when Biden decided he was going to descend from having 14 million votes voting him in and leaving it up to his vice president, who has still not gotten a vote in any primary for this election.
Of course, you've noticed, Dave, that Donald J. Trump will sit down and talk with anybody. He will answer questions ad lib in any crowd he happens to be in. He spent an hour the other day on Gutfeld. And,
yes, it was great.
It was great. The man is clearly on his game. He knows what he's talking about. He beats up Harris a little bit, but let's face it, the guy's a New York entrepreneur. He's going to beat up anybody that gets around him. And in contrast, Harris has been hiding in the basement. Other than that puff piece with Oprah, she's done nothing. And it intrigues me that the Democrat cabal, the folks that do the politics for the Democrats, are taking this route. This cannot work for her. You've got Gen X and Gen Z folks that are saying, what does this chick stand for? And they're finding nothing. They're finding some feel-good garbage from her, some emotional stuff, but is there anything that even remotely resembles a policy? Of course not. There's nothing there. This is a Big Mac without the meat, Dave.
This is 4 years. This is 4 years after our president, just about 4 years, of Joe Biden, who did the same kind of strategy, but was able to get away with it. Now there's such a contrast between the 4 years of Trump and what Biden and Kamala did to us on our border, on our economy, on our gas prices, our energy costs, that now the Americans know what a fraud is. After a while, we might be a little slow, give them a chance, blah, 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 but it's been a disaster since day one in the Obama-Biden administration, along with Harris. Okay, so I understand why Trump may just turn and flip New York State and maybe even New Jersey.
There is a possibility.
You know that.
A year ago, I would have said that is absolutely not possible. But this thing has unwound. If you've got a knitted sweater and you start poking around and pulling threads, the sweater falls apart. And I think the sweater of the Democrat Party has fallen apart quickly. Many citizens of this country are asking the questions, what do you stand for? And they're finding nothing there. By contrast, Donald Trump, like I said, he'll speak to anybody anytime. and he talks about policy. He talks about the things he intends to do, and he has a track record that he can stand on. Now, in that same vein, the Fed just did a 50 basis point decrease in interest. So that's 0.5%. And it was kind of anticipated. Maybe that's going to be good for our economy. Maybe not. Will it drop overall interest rates a bit? Yes. The trouble is the federal government has spent so much money that they didn't have by printing it. I think the inflation is going to continue and perhaps even increase.
Well, here's another thing that Powell mentioned. He said a lot of this problem is the unemployment in Americans, and we've had this influx of illegal aliens, and they seem to be taking a lot of the jobs. Now that's huge news from the guy that runs our economy, so to speak, along with Joe Biden.
They are flooding the bottom end of the job market, Dave, which is going to, of course, is going to drive unemployment up. And I don't know about you, but I went grocery shopping the other day, and groceries are still ridiculously high.
Yeah, I have been shopping.
So I buy the cheap stuff because that's what people do. You know, you got to eat. You want to do that as inexpensively as possible.
I look for deals.
But I think the Fed did what they were required to do, but I don't think it's going to have long-term the effect that Powell thought it would. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But look for...
We got an election in like 49 days or so. We'll see what happens. The market was way up yesterday. Maybe some of that is a little bit of a confidence vote for Donald Trump, I think.
I think so too, Dave. And of course, the markets are a fickle thing. They bounce up and down over the most trivial of things. Let's talk about our House of Representatives for a moment, Dave. We've got a continuing resolution that fell in flames the other day because it had the SAVE Act attached to it. And some of the Republican rhinos...
What is that, the SAVE Act?
The SAVE Act, S-A-V-E.
Okay, yes.
The SAVE Act in the Congress is a requirement that people show proof of citizenship to vote.
Yeah, okay. So they're saving the election.
This is anathema to the Democrats who want as many illegals as they can voting because the expectation is
how many of the Democrats? They must have had a bunch of Democrats vote for this, right?
They had a bunch of Democrats vote against it.
Oh, you mean there was only like 2.5% of the Democrats who voted for the bill, for the Republican bill, not to mess with our elections?
And that was expected, Dave. The SAVE Act has been contentious since it's...
That people understand what's happening here. That's proof. That's proof that they did this intentionally to steal the elections.
I think that's right. Yeah. A reasonable person would suspect that. But, you know, Mike's got a problem on his hands. He's retrenched a little bit and trying to come up with a continuing resolution that could actually pass. But let's look at the basics of this thing. Our Congress has not passed a real budget in decades. It's one continuing resolution after another, or a big omnibus budget that has a bunch of garbage stuck in it that nobody would vote for were it a standalone. And now Chuck Schumer, who is possibly the biggest communist in the Senate, has said, okay, the Senate's going to come up with their plan, which will no doubt have the SAVE Act removed from it. You know, if our Congress had any sand, and they don't, they are corrupt and inept. I think the Republicans have shown that they're incapable of governance on the Congress level. They're going to come up with some garbage that says, okay, for the next 3 months, we're going to extend this thing to at least get them past the election. My take on that, Dave, is
this might really affect the election because people are watching how the Democrats are trying to steal this election by not signing on to this bill. And the election is going to take place. And if we get majority in the Senate, Well, it's going to be all hell for all the Democrats. Wouldn't that be a shame?
Wouldn't it be a shame, Dave? And of course, I pray for that. Never talk about a red wave. We saw that explode in our face a while back.
Right.
But I keep looking at polling data, and the national polls keep Trump and Kamala just neck and neck. And I think that's a put-up job when you get right down to it. When you get in that polling booth, you're going to vote your conscience.
Yeah, it's where he was with he right now. He's a little bit better off than he was with Hillary at this point.
Yeah,
Hillary was also leading him by more, I think, at this time.
Of course, Hillary went down in flames, and I applauded that at the time, and I will applaud that again today. She didn't bother to campaign because the Marxists around her said, "Baby, you got this in the bag. There's no way that the orange-haired man is going to actually make this." And of course, he walked all over her.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to steal the rabbi's thunder, but I want to talk just a bit about walkie-talkies and pagers. And
it's really not funny, only to the extent that finally Israel has you talk about it, because I have my own take on it. I'm going to be talking to the rabbi next, so you talk about it.
I will be listening to that, but this is a years-long effort on the part of Mossad to get all this in place. This is possibly the best intelligence coup that's ever happened in this world.
Incredible.
They went and rigged these things. And initially, I'm an electrical engineer, okay? So I've been asked, how did this happen? How do you do this? And my initial thought was, well, these are lithium cell battery packs in there. And if you can arrange the software so that the battery pack shorts, you generate an awful lot of heat. Either the thing sets fire or it explodes. But since then, I've changed my tune a little bit since I've been looking into this thing. They actually rigged these with small amounts of explosive and sold them en masse to Hezbollah and other terrorist groups. And interestingly enough, when the Israelis sent the necessary code that made it look like the pagers were being tasked by a Hezbollah leadership person. Of course, the guy puts it up in front of his face, and then it goes boom. A couple of days later, low-tech walkie-talkies, which were being used, and Hezbollah's going low-tech because the digital stuff is so easily hacked by the Israelis, the Americans, and everybody else. These low-tech devices were rigged to explode. You know how many years it takes to put something like that in motion, Dave?
And in secret.
Absolutely amazing. My yarmulke is off.
But let me, wait a minute. You're supposed to keep that on. I'm talking to you. I don't have a yarmulke on. I'm Jewish. So what do you no problem. You don't need that.
Are you happy now?
I'm thrilled that you come on the show with that.
Now, Hezbollah has come back and said that one of their leaders said this is an act of war. Bearded turban moron guy isn't sending hundreds of rockets across the border into northern Israel. Isn't that an act of war?
Yeah, isn't it an act of war when you cooperate from day one, the day after the October 7th attacks where they killed babies, they actually decapitated babies, they raped and murdered women and old people, about 1,300 of them. Okay, the equivalent of 40,000 Americans being killed in one day. Now,
isn't this an act of war?
They're all crying. Wait, they're all crying about oh my God, look at all the Palestinian children killed and all the civilians killed. They set their places on top. They set them on the bottom of where these schools are, where hospitals are. All right. So ethically, this only kills a very small percentage of the civilian population. It's mainly aimed at the leaders because these are the guys that are talking on these pagers.
This is the best intelligence coup ever. And it was executed by the Israelis. My hat is off to them. You did good, guys. And the fact is that the Democrats are howling about this.
Why?
It says you did it right. It says you did something right.
They did it the way, and they're saving babies as they're doing it. Thank God.
Now, Israel is fixing to have to fight a two-front war here, one with Lebanon/Syria and the other with the Gaza Strip. I think Israel is capable of doing
right now. They're taking troops out of Gaza.
Yeah,
they're putting them up close to Lebanon.
That's where the next hotspot is going to be.
Yeah.
I just wonder what Netanyahu has up his sleeve. This thing was done so slick, so well done, so well executed, and nobody knew anything about it before it went off.
This is one of those.
Good job.
This is one of those little miracles that take place, like the June 6th war and several wars, that somehow Israel manages to do stuff, probably with a little touch of God in their efforts. But
no doubt,
they developed this stuff. I mean, look who developed the atomic bombs, for God's sakes. It was Jews who were kicked out of Germany and places like in Russia. All right, and so they developed this kind of stuff, and they don't get any credit with it.
Well, consider the Iron Dome system that Israel has used with such remarkable success. That was developed right there. And if you think about it, Ronald Reagan had Star Wars, which everybody said, poop, that'll never work. We're not going to do that. And of course, they wouldn't fund it. But Israel has their own version of that, which has worked pretty darn well. The only thing that it won't defend against is if they send thousands of rockets across the border.
Yeah.
If they don't have enough of them to shoot them all down, some of those are going to hit home. But for the most part, my hat is off to them, and I can't wait to hear what the rabbi has to say about this. I will have my ear glued to that cell phone.
Well, I got a really strange situation right now. I've got a guy who I wanted on at 9:30, and he's sitting there looking at me with a Trump hat on.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Dave.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you get this guy plugged in? He can stay for the rabbi. I mean, look, he's shaking his head. Yeah, I think he just weaseled another half hour out of me.
Good job. I got a last parting shot for you, Dave.
All right, I'm ducking.
This is on big tech censorship. The Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, which is kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia, who claims to be a centrist, but he's a leftist, is urging greater cooperation between government and big tech on what, you might ask?
Yeah, what?
Prior to the election, they're going to try to keep disinformation to a minimum on the big tech scale. You know what that means? That is restricting conservative viewpoint just prior to the election.
And they've been doing
Mark Warner, I think Mark Warner is a communist and probably ought to be tried and executed, but maybe that's just me. I'm a little right-leaning.
Yeah.
David, it's been my pleasure talking with you, and I will talk with you
so
again
much.
next Friday.
And let's hear it for John Jeffrey Bradshaw. And my guest will have to wait because I got to do some commercials, and then you can be on with the rabbi. How's that? How cool is that? All right. So for the next 5 minutes or so, you're going to have to, sit back and enjoy the commercials. Hit it.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender, all one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have. Gotta reach 'em, see it right now. Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town and Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, right now I have two people on my show. One of them, my wife asked if he was in a different time zone. So I said no. He's in the twilight zone, and that would be Richard Lockwood. And you're gonna have to wait while I introduce my friend the Rabbi, wartime Rabbi, takes your contributions and buys modern helmets and knee pads to the IDF has organized Israeli widows to help them care with their family problems. And please welcome all the way from Israel, Moshe Rothschild. I forgot the rabbi part, but okay, what are you going to do? And so we got two guys there. We're going to see how much we can interpose, but the rabbi goes first. Talk about the obviously the main thing in everybody's mind these days, especially all of the Arab world, is exploding pagers.
Right.
Most people are just marveling at this. I just had a civil electrical engineer saying he was shocked. Well, that's not a good word either. He was shocked by what these things were and how they were made. Talk about that a little bit if you can.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much detail came out in the States, but basically Israel set up a shell company in Hungary that had a license from a company in Taiwan called, I think, Apollo Gold, which was a legitimate company. And so basically Israel was selling the beepers to Hezbollah. So not only did we, explode them. But
wait a minute. No, this can't go without a comment. You mean there were money on this too?
Yeah, we made money on it too. So and then Israel, this company, quote unquote, in Hungary told them since they bought so many beepers, they're going to throw in for free a bunch of walkie-talkies. And so what Israel did is they placed a small amount of explosives in the beepers, and that was detonated simultaneously. The papers are reporting here that this is in plan for 15 years. They were detonated simultaneously, leaving practically no civilian casualties. And then the next day, their walkie-talkies started blowing up. And that was actually that was more severe even than the beepers. And so it's just, there's been so many jokes here in Israel, by the way, all over the place.
After 10/7, let's not forget that. Yeah. After 10/7, this is kind of what they deserved and kind of what the world was asking you for. Don't kill the little children. Don't kill the civilians. Right. Okay, this is the perfect solution to that.
Right. This was like the most, targeted attack that it's hard for anyone to complain. There were no civilians. Essentially, it was 3,000 terrorists. I think one girl got hurt, but we're talking about 99.9% were terrorists. You pretty much can't get any better than that practically. Oh. And you still had people like AOC condemning it and so on and so forth. So
not as badly as she did before.
Yeah. So
she did bend a little bit towards Hamas, against Hamas.
Yeah. I mean, what we've realized, over the last 11 months, it's not a matter of what we're doing that bothers the world. It's really a matter of who's doing it. Yeah. And that's the reality. The reality is that if anybody else would have done something like this, people wouldn't, they would have said, wow, Hezbollah, they've been firing rockets indiscriminately against civilian populations. And Israel struck back without even harming civilians, and the world would have said, "Wow, that's unbelievable." In the history of warfare, that's like that's never happened. Not almost, that's never happened.
Okay, well, I've got another guy sitting there. He's kind of a mystery man. He's
well, I like his beard. He's got a nice
related.
beard.
Yeah, he could be Jewish. He's related. He's done a book about Barron Trump and his dog Bulger. The guy is he's a time zone kind of guy, time travel kind of guy, and really this kind of goes along into what's going on with Israel, and whoever's guiding us, like, well, God Himself. I mean, there has to be God in this, and God's not going to make this stuff up. He's gonna lead the Israelis to think about this stuff and then create it. Would you say? Anyways, please welcome Richard Lockwood. From where, I don't know. Okay, any comments on what the rabbi said? You got to make your comments.
Well, first of all,
related, yeah.
First of all, there's they've been saying from the river to the sea.
Yes.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
I've got a better one. From the liver to the knee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, from the liver to the knee.
I'm sure you're welcome from
exactly.
The yeah. Oh, God.
Anyway, this election season has actually highlighted a spiritual battle. And like you were saying, and one political party represents everything that goes against biblical and church teachings, and the other party represents life and righteous conservative principles. I mean, the issues that divide us are clear. And former President Trump has become a champion of life and conservative principles, and many people believe that he has been protected by God for a purpose. Would you agree?
I can't believe that. Yeah. Let's go down to an update. It looks like you have no choice but to go full scale against Hezbollah, Rabbi. And I don't know. It sounds to me like, these guys, I'm talking about the leadership. They all got to be scared to death now. And I don't see why they would want to continue the war, because who knows what else Israel has cooking for them.
Yeah. Look, they got to be.
The whole thing about this is, you know what? Don't mess with the Jews. You want to mess with the Jews, along the road sometime, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah, they got to be looking over their shoulders at we're sending them back 1,000 years, and they won't be able to use phones. They won't be able to use their beepers. They won't be able to use walkie-talkies. Right? Everything they do, they're going to be looking over their shoulder and wondering, what's next. And they're being
for them, it's okay for the collateral damage. They don't care about the civilians. They care about who? They care about having the civilians die for them, not for them dying for the civilians.
How are you going to run a terror organization without ways to communicate, to your thousands of terrorists? How are they going to communicate? By pigeons? How are they going to communicate? And we've put.
I wonder if Israel's been working on the pigeons too.
Yeah. Who knows? Exploding pigeons.
They'd be collateral damage.
Yeah. Well, I think that's for the birds. So I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
He's a fan of comic too. All righty. You got to have humor in these times too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny because now my son, who's almost 13 years old, or even my high school kids, they have no idea what a beeper is. I have to tell them what a beeper is.
Right, exactly. That's old technology, isn't it?
Yeah, they had no idea what it was.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. All right, so now you've got, and the reason you have to finish this seems to me. Now I heard this morning is that you got 70,000 homes that have been evacuated by the Israelis, at least, and you got to get that back. You're a small country, and you've got to be able to have homes in that area where people feel safe.
Yeah, look, we have 60, 70,000 people or so displaced already for close to a year, and enough is enough. And so they just reported actually in the news that Israel just eliminated I would see the number 2 guy in Hezbollah literally just minutes ago. There's targeted strikes going on in Beirut as we're speaking, right? And they're eliminating very high level members of Hezbollah. So I think there is a plan. It seems that every day they're kind of raising the bar. So
who's raising the bar? Is it now Netanyahu?
Israel is. It seems that where first day was the beepers, then there was the walkie-talkies, right. And when you put thousands of their operatives into the hospital, it's a perfect time to do what they're doing now, and that is bombing. And then who knows what the next escalation by Israel is going to be? Because look,
you got when you have the leaders in such damaging situation like they are, scary and damaging. That's the time to hit them, and you say, "Look, we're going to occupy you, and we're not going to let you do this ever again, ever. We're going to modify what you do, and if you don't like it, we'll keep on going."
Yeah, exactly.
What's your choice? What's your choice? They gave you a choice on October the 7th. The choice was to stand up and be killed from the river to the sea, or fight back and survive. But not only survive, ensure that this never happens again. And I don't care what the world says. You do it because you have to.
Yes, we need to clean up southern Lebanon.
Yeah.
We need people to be able to go home and to sleep at night safely.
Exactly.
And so hopefully that's, it seems to me from what I'm seeing the last few days that Israel is moving in that direction. And the question is there going to be a full-scale invasion after this kind of softening of Hezbollah, softening the targets? But, we'll see. It's a little, for me, it's difficult. Obviously I have a son in the north now, and if there's a full-scale invasion, he'll probably be part of that.
Gaza, right?
He was in Gaza for many months.
I heard that they were sending a bunch of troops up to Gaza. I wondered if your son was one of them.
Yeah, he was moved up north a little while ago, so we'll see. He's near the border.
Yeah. Well, God bless him.
See what happens.
So, by the way, speaking of things like Star Wars, thinking of things like, the things that have saved Israel that they also created was the Iron Dome. This was the original idea of Ronald Reagan. Star Wars. And I saw the movie. We saw the Reagan movie. And I would advise everybody here to watch that movie, even though the mainstream media and all the liberal press said it's the worst movie ever made. It was a great movie.
Did you expect them to say anything else?
I can't believe those bastards or me. Anyhow, look, you have any comments on that?
Well,
sir?
Look,
Mr. Wait a minute. Mr. Lockwood?
We're talking about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Lockwood, you got anything to say? Make it short, please.
Make it short and sweet.
Well, yeah, you're early. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. No, you're not.
Actually, what I'm waiting to talk about is the Hermit of Loreno. That's a prophecy. So I'm really not going to comment on what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, but I can't hear the rabbi. Rabbi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
I hear you
Listen
loud
to me.
and clear.
You call me back.
You're breaking up.
15. Richard?
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
David?
We're having network issues again.
Yeah, your screen's freezing up
so
there.
Just a second. We will.
There
we go. There we go.
All right, go say what you said.
I didn't say anything.
Rabbi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay,
We were having network issues. I think
yeah, and if you're still listening, Lockwood, call me back at 9:15. Okay. Nod your head. He can't. Yeah, he's nodding his head. Good. Okay, great. So Iran got a Jewish guy to assassinate Netanyahu, as well as having a hand in the assassination of President Trump. What did the Biden administration know about this? And what kind of communication, other than we had nothing to do with it? We had nothing to do with this. The beeper thing.
Yeah.
What kind of backup you getting from the U.S.? Any?
What the U.S. said was that had Hezbollah, if they would stop, but by virtue of the fact that they're still firing rockets indiscriminately, they're not going to put pressure on Israel to stop anything they're doing. So that's what the U.S. said. So basically,
are we still getting equipment from them?
I haven't heard that we weren't. So
okay.
I'll make an assumption that we are. But the U.S. did say this: since Hezbollah is continuing to fire rockets into civilian populations, they're not going to do anything to try to stop Israel. In other words, what they basically said is that if Hezbollah would stop firing rockets, they'll put pressure on Israel to stop whatever Israel's doing.
Okay, but you can't let this go like the 20 years or so, almost 20 years of what Israel did with Hezbollah and Gaza. No more of this. We're gonna cut the grass. We're gonna and then go back and have a ceasefire. No more of that crap.
All right,
it can't happen again. And I don't care who says Egypt don't like it. Tough. Anybody in the Middle East, any country in the Middle East right now, and especially Lebanon, is on warning right now with this, because I think they're a little nervous about this too. Don't you, Rabbi?
Yeah. I think so too. I think we've been punching hard the last few weeks with the assassinations and with this.
Yeah.
And so I think they're a little bit concerned.
Yeah, and their stuff doesn't work because of the Iron Dome.
Yeah.
And you know what? Who said that was a horrible idea and America is never going to do this?
Yeah.
Joe Biden back in the 80s.
Well,
this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Star Wars.
Let's take it even a step further. In 2025, which is not far away, Israel has said the laser will be operational, meaning we're not going to have to fire missiles, which cost $50,000 every time you fire it.
Wow.
But the laser, which is literally pennies or dollars to fire, and it will be operational in the next 4 to 6 months.
And in case people are wondering, well, what does that mean? We're making more money.
Yeah.
You're making it cheaper. You're making it so the United States could use it. And
not
other
only that,
countries were afraid of the atomic bombs.
We don't have to rely also on the United States to provide the anti-missile missile for the Iron Dome or to provide the funding. So $50,000 for every rocket fired by the Iron Dome. Now that goes down to $3 to fire a laser.
I just saw the military companies. I just saw it on television that the military companies, they just dropped 20% in their value.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, just kidding.
Because of
that could happen.
I said. Yeah. Look, I don't know what percentage Israel sales to Israel are, but if we start if we start in 2025 not needing to buy $50,000 bombs or missiles, that's an enormous game changer.
Yeah. All right. So let's see what I got else for you. The UN. has voted 124 for, 14 against, with
Right.
43 abstentions to strip Israel of its right to self-defense in Gaza, Judea, and Samaria. What the hell? Who are they
Yeah.
to tell you that?
Right. Well, I mean, look, it's a non-binding resolution. However, it's going to give some all the anti-Israel proponents out there. It's going to give them some kind of a boost. But
It's going to get a lot of people killed, is what it's going to do. It's going to get a lot of people killed: Jews, Muslims, Arabs.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying
a lot
is,
of people killed.
Israel doesn't legally have to comply with that. It's not a binding resolution of the Security Council. So
they can't rely on it.
No, I'm saying it's not a binding resolution. There's no real effect of it. It's just a spirit. It's just a philosophical win, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, it's going to get a lot of people killed. That's more than philosophical. That's real.
How's it going to get people killed?
How's it going to get? Because you just said it. Because it's going to give a lot of comfort to your enemies, who you might be able to get to actually give up and make some kind of a peace. And they're going to still kill Jews. You're going to have to kill them. There's going to be collateral damage. I don't think it's.
Look, I mean, it's nothing new that you have these votes in the UN, to be honest with you. The UN voted that Zionism is racism. The UN vote makes all these kinds of votes. And that's just, what we've been dealing with since the founding of the state.
Well, the vote to tell you that you can't protect your land, which they voted in, by the way.
The fact that we got 14 on our side, that's a lot, actually. We usually get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6.
Well, okay. Maybe it's time to hit back a little bit to them. I mean, it's outrageous. How's the front of finding other allies doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, some of those countries on that list are new allies, and
Okay.
So,
what's Saudi Arabia doing lately? What kind of communications do you have with them? And really, they're going to put their face in two different places: what they tell you and what they tell the Arabs.
Well, it's true. I mean, we definitely are very much wanting a full, open, relationship with Saudi Arabia. First of all, Saudi Arabia are Sunnis and Iran is Shiite, so it's also in their favor to have a good relationship with Israel, because for them, to have a powerful enemy in the Middle East against Iran, that's a very reliable and very reliable ally as well.
Yeah,
it's definitely something that they want. So it's not simply a one-way street,
Sure.
and that's a really good thing for them. So we're hoping that it's going to happen sooner rather than later, and we're the October 7th war has delayed it, but there's still very, very good chances that's going to happen.
Yeah. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, Trump is had a second assassination attempt upon him. But but did you see the visual of him going to and doing a rally in New York City and getting not getting the backing of the unions, but at least getting them not to endorse the Democrats. Yeah, I mean that's a big deal, and the streets were lined with people in New York City. Him going to this amazingly loud rally of New York citizens, New York City citizens, and this after a huge, great rally in New Jersey. He might have a chance of flipping both states.
We'll see. I saw on Hannity, I didn't see it. He quoted the New York Times poll saying that Trump was ahead by a point, and that's from the New York Times.
Wow.
I think at this point,
they're losing like crazy. I mean, yeah, they had their great little convention where they gave away free abortions and free.
Right, and they had that
I don't even want to say the word
convention bump, but she's not giving interviews, and
but she's saying the same lies that she told in the debates.
Yeah, she's memorized them, and you see her just spewing them. It's I can't even listen to her. I shouldn't say this, but her voice is so annoying. It's so hard to listen to her.
You know what? We got to get the cackle as one of our bets. Just the cackle.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, I think so.
It makes my head.
If I'm pissed off at somebody, they're getting the cackle. You might give me the whip, Lisa, but I got the cackle. Anyways, other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and buy your book and contribute?
Okay, they can go to, if they want to get my book, secretsofthehebrewbible.org, and you can buy your copy there if you're from the United States. If you want to see what we're doing, go to israelalliance.org or facebook.com/Israel Alliance. We'd love to hear from you.
And speaking about the election, the press interviewed Netanyahu, and they wanted to know, is Israel behind the exploding pagers? And Netanyahu's response was, so I was raised in a middle-class family. That came from Mark Levin.
You know what? I told my wife that I really needed to lose weight, and she said the odds of that are very slim. I said exactly.
Oh, yeah. All right, you got to tell me. I'm going to leave it there. Shabbat shalom.
All right, guys.
Your
Shabbat
family.
shalom.
And Yonit, the
Yeah,
second most powerful person in Israel, right there.
Yes. All right. All the best.
All right.
Guys.
See ya. Okay, that was pretty good. All right, I haven't read the board or anything. When a guy gets on there, I guess that didn't really work. I don't know. I think we confused the machinery or something by having him on at the same time. Yeah. So is our Wi-Fi in good shape?
Yeah, we had a temporary, just a few seconds where it was trying to act a little squirrely, but it seems to be back on now.
So do something about the squirrel, will you? For God's sakes!
I've been trying to get rid of that squirrel for a long time now.
Like any Jewish person, you can kill the squirrel and sell it for food, but not at McDonald's. No, I'm not going there.
Yeah,
let's
not do that.
No, I'm not going to do that. Patricia Odin Maxwell seems to be happy, sounding good, looking good. Go team! Thank you. The official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show.
Hi, Pastor Pat.
Yeah, and Pastor Pat saw the movie and thought it was great too. Yeah, I mean, there was hardly any people in the theater in Waynesville. Was it Waynesville? And I got up afterwards, and I didn't tell him who I was or anything. I says, you know what, that was a great movie, and there's only 13 of us in this room, or 11 or something. I forget what it was. And I says we ought to go on social media and talk about how great this movie was. Reagan, you got to see it. It's going to remind you so much of Donald Trump. It isn't silly, and that they were both liberals. They were both liberals, for goodness sakes. They were both Democrats, and they both switched sides. That's why they're evil, because they switched sides.
I believe they had a lot of trouble promoting Reagan too. I think it kept getting taken down or something.
Sure, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But you're missing a good movie, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't see this, you might have to search for it, because there's a lot of movie theaters. Apparently, the one here in Rolla won't play it, and I don't know why.
They never play conservative movies.
No, they're
ever.
woke. They're part of a larger conglomerate that's.
That's what we got here. We got to get through this.
So we go to Waynesville.
We got to get information. All right.
And what I find interesting, Reagan and Trump, is that two of the more successful presidents they were outsiders. They're not career politicians.
Exactly. That is the other thing. You got an actor, but he did learn leadership because they elected him as the main guy in Hollywood for the Hollywood unions, and then as a governor of the state of California. So he had good leadership abilities, and he was a smart guy. He wasn't a genius at stuff, but he knew how to talk to people. I'm talking about Reagan, and I'm talking about Trump as well. He knew how to talk to people. He knew how to be honest with people. Somehow, I think the politicians of today, some, not all, have figured that in order to get ahead, they got to lie. And I've seen that in business too. That people who get ahead seem to want to go along with things that they know are wrong, just to get their own career ahead. I think if you wanted a word, you could use one word in the Republican Party. It's called rhinos. So, all right. We haven't done a darn thing about any humor or anything, nothing funny. Let's do Reagan, and let's do Carlin.
There was a fellow that was on his way to a mountain resort, and a policeman stopped him and said, "Did you know that you're driving without taillights?" And the driver hopped out of the car. He was so badly shaken that the officer took pity on him and said, "Well, now, wait a minute, calm down. It's not that serious an infraction." The fellow said, "It may not mean much to you, but to me it means I've lost my trailer, a wife, and 4 kids." Cub reporter whose first solo assignment was interviewing a fellow who was just going to have a birthday that made him the oldest person in town. And he got to the address. It was an older building out in the outskirts of the city, and elderly gentleman ushered him in. He sat down, and the reporter determined he was the man, and he said he was there for the interview, and he led right to the matter about how old are you, and the man said 96. He said, "To what do you attribute your longevity?" And the fellow said, "I don't smoke, drink, or run around with wild women." And at that moment, there was a crash from upstairs. And the reporter looked up and he said, "What was that?" The old boy said, "Oh, that's Dad. He's drunk again."
We would like to pre-board those passengers traveling with small children. But what about those passengers traveling with large children? Suppose you have a 2-year-old with a pituitary disorder. You know, a 6-foot infant with an oversized head. They might tell you you're on a non-stop flight. Well, I don't think I care for that. No, I insist that my flights stop. Preferably at an airport. It's those sudden, unscheduled cornfield and housing development stops that seem to interrupt the flow of my day.
He said non-stop flight. For a second, I thought they were going to do a Catholic joke. Non-stop. We have that with Confession with Jerry Seinfeld. Let's do that one.
Yeah, give me a second. I can pull it up here because that is definitely. I think it's probably a fan favorite if I had to guess. So here.
Yeah, Confession, right?
Tell me your sins, my son.
Well, I should mention that I'm Jewish.
Well, that's no sin.
Oh, good. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about Dr. Watley. I have a suspicion that he's converted to Judaism purely for the jokes.
And this offends you as a Jewish person?
No, it offends me as a comedian. And it'll interest you to know that he's also telling Catholic jokes.
Well...
And they're all jokes. I mean, the Pope and Raquel Welch in a lifeboat.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh.
Now I'm thinking a non-stop flight, and I'm thinking about if you're Catholic, you get to stop where you want to, right? No, doesn't work. No. But that's the beginning of a joke somewhere. I know it is. These jokes don't just settle down on you like that.
The next time you have to ask Mark McCluskey when he's on. He's Catholic. He might be able to help figure that one out.
Yeah. They, I've got plenty of friends that are Catholic. I just know the Catholics and the Jews have a let's call it a interesting history because of the Roman Empire. and Italy as the center of the Roman Empire became the home of Catholicism when they adopted Christianity or Catholicism in I guess the 3rd century A.D. And by that time they had looted not the Christians necessarily, but they had looted all the treasures of the Jewish people in terms of museum pieces and things like that. And here it is, 2024. They still have all the stuff. All the booty they took then is sitting in the Vatican. I wonder if we can go see our own booty by going to the Catholic Vatican. Hey, I'm a Jew. Can I see it?
I thought you were going to say by looking in the mirror.
Huh? What's that?
I thought you were going to say by looking in a mirror.
I don't understand.
I wonder if we could see our own booty by looking in the mirror.
My wife with a joke. Give her another one.
Oh, stop it.
Stop it.
Never mind.
I do get a lot of my jokes from my wife.
Never
It's
mind.
Here's one, and this is not really funny, but I golf. Okay, I golf once a week, maybe twice.
2 to 3 times.
Sometimes with my wife, sometimes not. And I have a standing date with these 2 old guys. Both of them really smart. One is Bob Willis, and the other is Jack Boone. And they sort of adopted me. I'm almost 76, and they've kind of adopted me. Does that sound weird or what? But they are coaching me in my golf game, and it is getting better. But what I contribute also is maple whiskey. Maple good whiskey, expensive whiskey. And I have a bottle of it in my bag, and I put ice on it. And then I disperse. If anybody gets a birdie, they get to a drink of this maple whiskey. And when that happens, sometimes we get a little drunk. But the last 2 weeks, nobody has gotten a birdie. Nobody except for my eagle, which means I got in on a par 4, and I actually made a 50-yard chip shot out of the rough and had to look for my ball like crazy. I thought I hit it good. I was looking behind the hole. I was looking in front of the hole. I couldn't find it. And finally, one guy walks over to where he putted his ball. I'm looking down at the hole. My ball's in the hole. Okay, so that cost me some big time whiskey. It got to the point where I gave them so much whiskey that they had to sit down for a while. Anyways, I've got my guest back, and sorry about the problems that you caused earlier. But
sorry.
This guy is he's out there. He has a book about. We talk about a book about Barron Trump, and he's written a book about Trump, and he's an interesting guy. And this book about Barron Trump was done in 1895, and I think it was maybe or maybe not one of his relatives. And he knows about time travel, space aliens, and about atomic war. This is an interesting guy. Weird, but interesting. Please welcome, all the way from wherever the hell he is, Richard Lockwood. Okay, Richard. So Nate Silver, who is an expert. Do you know who he is? Yeah, I can't hear you now. I can't.
No. Tell me about him.
He is a expert on polls, and he claims right now that Trump is in a position. This was actually on the 16th of September. Trump is going to get 312 electoral votes, and Kamala and Tampon Tim are going to get 226, which is a pretty sizable victory in case you're from Brandon. All he needs is 270, right? So what are you predicting?
Well, I'm definitely predicting a Trump win.
Okay, and it's based on what?
Well, let me take you to a prophecy from an American mystic by the name of Tom Zimmer. I'm sure you haven't heard of him, but Zimmer moved from America to Italy, okay?
Yeah.
And when he was there, he hung around Loretto, the town of Loretto. And in Loretto is a house, a holy house, okay? It was the holy house of Mary. And he devoted...
This is the Holy House of Mary. Did she move from Israel to Italy?
Well, let me tell you.
Okay, please.
Okay, for our listeners who don't know, the town of Loretto is a site of the Holy House of Mary, and the legend has it that the house, it's her house that was in Israel, and during the Middle Ages, the house was brought back brick by brick to Europe by Crusader knights. And this was to prevent it from being desecrated by the Muslims at the time.
Wait a minute. Where was this house? I thought you said the house was in Italy. Italy is in Europe.
Right. So, once again, during the Middle Ages, the house was brought back brick by brick, brought to Europe.
Okay, which place in Europe?
Loretto, Italy.
Okay, all right. I get you now.
By Crusader knights. And that was to prevent it from being desecrated by the Muslims.
Okay.
So the knights reassembled it in Loretto. In 1983, the hermit, as he's called now, had a vivid premonition of the future. And in his vision, he was told that a young man named Donald Trump would lead America back to God. Now, this is in 1983. Okay?
1983 or
yes.
1883?
1983.
Okay.
So in the year 2000, follow me here, an Italian-American priest by the name of Giacomo Capeverde was going to Italy, and his friend Dr. Claude Curran told him about the hermit and the prediction. So Father Capeverde was so intrigued by the story that he decided to visit the hermit on an upcoming trip.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so when Father Capeverde met up with the hermit, he asked him about his 1983 vision. He said, what is this about I hear about Donald Trump? And the hermit says, I've been told that Donald Trump will lead America back to God and make America great again. Remember, this is 1983.
Who did he say he was told? Who told him that?
He believed that God gave him a vision.
Okay.
And Capeverde replied, do you mean the New York Playboy, Donald Trump?
Uh-huh.
And so the hermit replied to him, yeah, Donald Trump is a man who's been anointed by God. He's a warrior, just like David of the Old Testament. So Capeverde still couldn't believe what he was hearing. He said, come on, but Tom, Donald Trump is a jet-setting playboy. He's a millionaire. He dates Hollywood starlets. He leads a life of worldliness and glitter and stuff. And Zimmer said, Father, I'm telling you the truth. The anointing of God is on him, and God is going to use Donald Trump in the future to bless America. Okay, the hermit revealed another really interesting thing to Father Curran.
Yeah.
He said, Father, I am so convinced about Donald Trump that I bought a memorial brick for Donald Trump and had his name carved into it. And then I brought it to the Vatican, where it was sealed in the holy door of St. Peter. And right at this very moment, Donald Trump is supposedly benefiting from all the masses and prayers inside the Vatican. And his brick will stay there until, listen to this, until Christmas Eve of this year, which marks the end of a 25-year waiting period for the next Jubilee year.
Which year? 2024?
Okay, Christmas of 2024, the door will be opened. You know about, from your Jewish tradition, Jubilee years, because I know that that's a part of the Jewish tradition.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the holy door of St. Peter is a walled entrance to the papal basilica in the Vatican. And by tradition, it's only opened every 25 years to start a new Jubilee year. Now, in ancient times, the Israelites celebrated a Jubilee year where all the debts were forgiven and people were supposed to kick back. They shouldn't reap or harvest, or it was a year of restoration and blessing. That was back. Yeah, that's the Israelite tradition. But since the early Christians were actually Jews, they continued it. It was in their consciousness, and so
a lot of things that have been, for example, when you go to a river or stuff like that, and you get thrown into the river and then back up again, that's a Jewish tradition. I didn't know that.
Of course, that's our baptism. Yes.
Yeah, baptism. Right. I couldn't find the word.
Yeah, John the Baptist, wild-eyed Jew baptizing people in the Jordan River. Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but that's interesting. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that you're a Catholic, right?
I am.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So,
what else you got on that?
The brick that the Hermit of Loretto placed in the Vatican that has Donald Trump's name on it, is going to be exposed when the holy door of St. Peter is opened on Christmas Eve, like I said. And
this could be a great commercial, because the voting isn't over until November the 5th.
I know.
No, the election will already be over. I'm sorry. Can they move it up? Can they move it up to like October 30th or 31st?
It would be great if they could
make that sway, because that's a hell of a compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
By the time that the door is opened, the U.S. presidential election will be over.
Yeah, right.
But we'll be one step closer to knowing if the Hermit's premonition will come to pass. If Trump wins.
Now tell me again about the Hermit. Who's a hermit? What kind of hermit are we talking about?
Okay, the Hermit himself was he was a mystic, okay, from the United States, and he had visions. He had visions. He actually wrote a book called The Pietà about Mary receiving the body of Jesus at the foot of the cross, and it sold 1.5 million copies.
Yeah.
So he went to Loretto to devote the rest of his life to prayer and to meditation. So actually he was an author as well, and just an interesting fellow.
Now let me tell you something about the Gutfield show. He had Donald Trump on his show, Gutfield. Are you familiar with him, Gutfeld?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, okay. He had Kat Timpf.
Yeah.
And she asked the question out of nowhere: are there aliens in Area 51? And I mean, she asked that to Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she ask him that? Is there a reason for that, or because I thought of you immediately when
Yes,
she asked that question?
yes, I believe that Donald Trump knows that he's going to become president, and I think by now he knows his mission and everything, and he's very aware of his protection. And
Well, it sure ain't the Secret Service.
you know, and I believe when she asked him about that, she had an inkling that he knew, and I believe so too.
Well, it's in the Bible when you get it used to be from a ram, you get blooded ear on your right ear.
It's an anointing, right?
Yeah, and your right thumb,
Thumb, right?
and your foot, that you are anointed, being anointed by God.
Yes.
Well, I didn't see his feet, but he had blood on his hands. He had blood on his ear. When he got that bullet in his ear, I didn't see his feet though. Although he did say to put his shoes back on. So
Remember,
some of
the shoes were taken off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Isn't
it's
do you think that was a sign from God?
I
Seriously.
believe that it fulfilled some of the criteria that was revealed to us in the Old Testament. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that's in the Bible.
Yeah.
Leviticus,
Mhm.
I believe. And it talked about Moses anointing Aaron under God by putting the blood of I don't know, an animal, sheep, whatever, on his ear and his thumb and his feet.
Yep.
Pretty
So
interesting.
I'm totally of the belief that he has a work to do. You know, if he wasn't so certain,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have left his life of his privileged life with all the money, and he could do anything that he wanted. But he understands that he has a mission.
You know what? I find that to be extraordinarily interesting because he didn't need this.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
But I believe he understood that he had to do it.
I think you got something there, because I wonder in my own life, why am I doing this? I'm almost 76, not far away from his age and stuff. Why am I doing this? I'm not Donald Trump rich, but I'm rich enough to retire and enjoy myself. But I don't enjoy it unless I have to be relevant. And I wonder if that's what he's thinking. I got to be relevant because I think God wants me to be relevant and
Yeah,
to do.
he feels a calling in his life.
Yes.
To do that, just like you do, just like I do.
Yeah. And what is your what does God want you to do? Do you think?
Well, I think he wants me to highlight Donald Trump's position in history right now.
I mean, how the hell did I get you on my show?
I met you online somewhere in one of the websites. Yeah.
The good website.
And Dave, I got to tell you something.
What?
While I was doing my research, I found out how the Vatican creates holy water.
Okay, I want to. Is this?
So they pour water from the river Tiber, into a large metal pot, and then they boil the hell out of it.
So that's holy water.
Yeah, they boil the hell out of it.
Over there. Holy water. You gotta boil it first. Yes. Okay.
Yes, boil the hell out of it. Oh man. And if you still have questions about aliens, actually aliens.
Yeah, I do.
I happen to know.
What effect do they have on our technology?
I happen to know.
Who are they?
They're us.
What do you mean they're us?
From the future. It's hard to deal with, but remember that aliens have been coming to, or what appears, UFOs have been coming to Earth since prehistoric times.
Yeah.
And all the way up to today.
Yeah.
But they haven't done anything terrible to us. They've been watching what goes on Earth.
That's what I'm thinking, because we would have known by now that they could have eliminated us because they had more technology than we had.
Of course.
Where do they come from?
Our future.
What do you mean? Oh, so they're really human beings that are coming back to.
No, I've got to alter that thought. They're not actually human beings. They are hybrids that have been created by future people to withstand the rigors of time travel and space travel. Because flesh and blood just couldn't take that. So anyway, if you want to find out more about that, I refer you to a book by Lieutenant Philip Corso, who's actually one of my cousins, second cousins, my dad's second cousin. And it's called The Day After Roswell.
Okay. Day After Roswell.
Roswell, yes. The Day After Roswell.
Is he alive?
No. He passed away. He wrote this book. Okay. He was in charge of all the remains of the crash at Roswell.
Yeah.
And his job was to take all the artifacts and disseminate it to American companies so that we could study it and reverse engineer it.
Wow. So what do you think of what I saw? I think I described that to you once, back about 1981, before Donald Trump was anointed, apparently. I had this. It was the middle of the day. It was hot out. It was the wind was blowing. You had these weedy things crossing the street with the wind and all that stuff. And I was walking to my duplex when I was kicked out of my house, getting a divorce the first time.
Oh.
And I felt a presence behind me. And I turned around, and there was this huge metal tube above me, but seemingly only like a block and a half away. I'm looking at this thing, and it's not making a sound. And
What year was this, Dave?
Huh?
What year was this?
About 1981.
Okay.
All right. And so I'm looking at this thing, and I can't make anything of it. I'm looking for anyone else around to say, hey, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And it hovered there, and I didn't see anybody. It hovered there for a good couple of minutes, and all of a sudden it took off, and there was no sound, and it just boom out of the way. That was not anything that man has that I know of.
That sounds like an interdimensional craft. I live within an eyesight of Argonne National Laboratory, where my father-in-law once worked.
Yeah.
And I see strange things in the sky all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are they going back and forth and visiting places, and people know them and all that stuff?
I believe there's a project, a time travel project that's going on with the assistance of their technology.
Okay. And you can't be a human and do that. You have to be a hybrid.
I believe so.
Do they make golf clubs too?
Club Champion, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple hybrids, and they're not bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can actually suffer through my swing, and I can connect with the ball. a little weird golf humor, but okay.
But,
Anyway,
anyway, after the crash at Roswell,
yeah,
all of these technologies just kind of leapt into existence, like night vision, computer chips.
yeah, exactly.
You know, all those types of things, and we made a real quantum leap forward. We weren't supposed to be where we were in the 1990s, but
So are these hybrids, half human, half other? I don't know what other things are they. You combining something, or are you just taking out?
It's they're pretty much taking a human brain system and combining it with other types of materials to create a very sturdy type of creature that could withstand time travel and space travel.
Are they much smarter than we are? Are they?
Oh yes.
Are they friendly? Do they have a sense of humor?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons that they were here in the first place is a protection thing. There are other creatures in the universe that aren't very friendly. And
well, who are they now? Are they
now I got to tell you, if they wanted to do us harm, the easiest way would be to go to our past where we're vulnerable.
To go to our past.
Yeah, we're very vulnerable and unable to defend ourselves. That's why.
Are they called Democrats?
Demon rats? Yeah.
Demon rats. Okay. All right. Well, no. I mean, they'll come back and destroy you based on what you've done when you were younger, and replay that for you or something. I don't understand how they could do that.
Are you talking about the aliens still?
Yeah, the bad aliens.
The bad aliens. Oh, what they would do is find a portion of time where humanity is vulnerable, and then they could have their way with them. But I believe that the future has sent out vehicles and weaponry to defend us, and that's something that every civilization that
would that explain really bad events like the Holocaust, for example, and all the other massacres in history, not pertaining necessarily to Jews, but to everybody. Were they responsible for that?
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so?
That's man's cruelty against man.
Okay, all right. Now, talk about Back to the Future, Men in Black. Men in Black has got that time travel thing, and I wonder if that was done with that mindset. And the aliens, they had an airport for aliens. All right, so, is that part of the deal, or is it just Back to the Future?
Well, I had a professor in college that told me, take science fiction seriously, because anything that people can actually create in their minds is a possibility in the universe.
So does that mean that Elon Musk is a space alien?
No, he's an African American.
You can't say that these days. I got told by a guy who has a little power over me when I said black. People were talking about stuff involving my business, and he says they're African Americans. And I looked at him. I says, "What are you talking about?" I didn't know what he was talking about. Well, if they're African Americans, they're not necessarily black, are they? I mean, they could be any color, and just have lived in Africa, and then moved to the United States.
Yeah, like Elon Musk was from South Africa.
But he's pretty bright, though. Likewise, that's why I wondered. He's a bright guy. Come
He's
on,
very bright.
he's going to Mars and stuff like that. So I wonder
And
if he was
by the
involved.
way,
Yes.
I fully expect Elon Musk to toss his hat into the ring in a future election.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he's already tied in with Trump now. All of a sudden, after being what? Another liberal. You got Romney, not Romney. You got Reagan and Trump. Both were liberals. All of a sudden, now they become conservative, and they both get shot at. Trump twice.
Both of them probably had an epiphany, you know. And
And
at that point they go, "Wow!"
Changing all of a sudden, changing to being a Trump guy. It's kind of interesting seeing.
I love what he did. I love what he did with Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on it all the time, and I'm complimenting his stuff as much as I can. I'm actually sending show announcements to him, to his Twitter account. He's got like 200 million people.
Right.
I think if he helps me once, he's gonna do good things for my show. So,
I think so too, and I also think that by him calling the new company X, he sent a message to the left. It was your X platform. It isn't anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And also, he's gotten kicked out of Brazil, and he's still trying to weasel his way in there somehow.
Yeah,
he's getting kicked out of places too, and the left don't like him anymore. I'd be a little concerned if I was him. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think I've asked enough stuff. How do you explain people like Kamala and Biden?
They're just useful idiots. Useful idiots.
Useful idiots. So who's the real evil here? Who's running the country right now?
The Democratic National Party. Probably the Obamas, if I had to nail it down. I don't think Clintons are as relevant as they used to be.
No.
But I think that Biden's term was actually Obama's third term.
Yeah. Why all the trash talk about Trump? What is it they see in Trump that makes them so scared?
Because they want to transform our country into a socialist state.
Right.
And Trump is a capitalist. And they're diametrically opposed.
Well, we're diametrically opposed to that, but we're not threatening their leaders.
Well, you see, socialists and communists don't play by the book. They don't play by rules.
Well, maybe we shouldn't either.
Well, yeah. That when that time comes, that is a revolution.
I said it in my monologue today. I said, to the Dems, stop this now, or you may just avoid a civil war.
But you know what? If they're truly Marxists and they're truly communists, they want a civil war.
Okay.
Only through a civil war can they actually take complete control.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the motives for the agitation.
So what's the solution then? You're saying we shouldn't think about that?
Well, we should. I hope that Trump, if he gets into power, rounds up a lot of them and actually has trials for them.
I think he has to go there.
Maybe military trials, because these are clearly subversive actions that they're taking.
Okay, military trials. That's very interesting too. Who's that? Is that from Spam Risk? Okay. I've got Spam Risk calling me. I wonder if it's from the future. Anyways, All right. Yeah. Well, we don't have anybody in until after. What do we got at? He's not in till 10, is he?
Yeah, and it's
No, it's about 10 minutes. All right. Okay. Well, in that case, other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you? Of course, there you can't because you're.
Oh yes, go to Facebook, and I have a Facebook page for Richard C. Lockwood.
Yeah, I applied to be an astronaut, but they ran out of space.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
You'll be telling it. You'll be telling it to
I
all
will.
the
I will.
And all the
I just know, Dave, if we went out for lunch, we'd be trading jokes back and forth for an hour.
Oh, you know what? That's what I do after golf. I go in there, and it's a. You think they all ask me about stuff, and I don't know when I became funny. I wasn't always funny, but I am kind of funny now. And I've written a lot of jokes and quotes and stuff like that. And I did it because when I was in my 40s, I said to myself, you had all these problems when you were a kid, actually my 30s, and can you do anything else? Then I started getting elected into office for McDonald's, for co-ops, both one in Springfield, Missouri, and the other in St. Louis. Got elected for a national deal, and I still have trouble speaking in front of people. And I forced myself into. I tried radio. I tried stand-up comedy. So, Betsy back. Always enjoy when you have Richard Lockwood as a guest. Some very interesting stuff. Great show today. Hey, thank you, Betsy.
Hi, Betsy.
I've never heard of her before. You got other people that leave. Let me do the. You got Kathy Sanford Dillon. Good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Love knowing we are starting off our weekend with the Dave Weinbaum Show. No better way to start off a weekend. Loves and hugs to everyone. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. And I got to say happy birthday to my one of my daughter-in-laws who was married to my son. We have a strange situation here. And her name is Summer, and Summer what? Chapman, yeah.
Happy birthday to Summer.
Happy birthday to Summer. So I've already played the trump card for her. In fact, if you ever have anybody, that's why I'm drinking. It's we got
fake mimosas.
Yeah, fake mimosas.
Yeah.
And if you ever want somebody to have a really happy birthday, you got to get this card.
I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I would never say in your face that you're fired, so I'll just say you're hired.
All right, you're hired for the next event that we have. Thank you so much. You're really interesting to talk to. If we ever meet, it'll be a riot. I'll tell you what.
I think we should sometime.
We'll capture the room. All right, please, round of applause for my friend Richard Lockwood. Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend.
God bless you.
Yeah, go. Thanks. Bye. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? All right. You got commercials you got to play. Well, go ahead and do it.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we are committed to providing exceptional service to our customers. We do more than just provide loans for our community. We help make dreams become reality. Whether it's a new home, farm, business, or a new car, we would love the opportunity to help. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly lending team remind you how special hometown banking can be. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hi there. Welcome back to the Dave Weinbaum Show. I got a couple of guests coming in here. I just heard some bad news about Bill Hardwick. that he got into an accident, and I guess he's okay, but he's a little bit stunned or hurt or something. And we have a couple of guests here. One is Josh Froman. Just tell me a little about your background, which interceded with mine.
So yeah, I actually worked for you quite a few times since my.
And you survived.
I did.
Wow.
Yep. Over the last.
How many
20
times
years.
do you have to fire a guy, Dave? Jeez.
I don't remember did I ever fire you?
No, I don't believe you ever fired me.
Okay. He was a manager.
Yep.
Told me, right. And what happened to you?
How did I get involved in politics?
Yeah.
So do you want to introduce me before you start making jokes about me?
I decided to do him first.
Okay. All right.
Because I'll tell you why. Because I can't find your interview. There it is. Go ahead.
No, so over the years, I just worked myself up through management and ended up getting involved in politics while working for Grellner, and met Don Mayhew and 4 years ago, and just kind of worked myself into the position.
And it's been downhill since then.
What position do you have?
So I work for
With him?
Don Mayhew as his legislative assistant. So whatever he needs, I do.
Well, you'll probably have to answer all the damn things he can't answer today.
Yeah.
Anyway, isn't that a greeting for you?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my guest here, other than Mr. Vroman, is Don Mayhew. He's a hen lover, and
that sounds dirty for some reason.
Well, he loves them he loves the hens for the.
I love
for
the
the
work.
eggs.
The work.
Yeah, well, you like the eggs too, because that way you don't have to actually eat them.
Actually,
because you're a nice guy. See, I'm trying to see how I
know
turn that around.
I see how you.
They produce the eggs, and he brings some in sometimes. Not this morning though. Yeah. Civil engineer, Missouri State Rep. Please welcome the hero to men and women on the street, our Missouri State Rep, Don Mayhew. Wait a minute. There's no applause.
I have to do my own.
JP, where are you?
Do I have to do my own laugh tracks too? I'm going to
apparently there's no applause. Poor guy. He's begging me. I introduced him first, and then neither one of them got applause. Yeah. Of course, I don't have any eggs with me either. Go ahead and give them both applause for guys. All right, that's enough. That's enough.
So that's enough. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm going to have to do my own laugh tracks now. So
apparently, yes. Okay.
Okay. So,
why are you going to do the interview, or are you going to ask your own questions?
You want me to? I can.
Well, what did you want to talk about?
So first of all, prayers out to Representative Hardwick. I have not heard yet, and so I'm hoping he's okay. On Josh, I think we left out a pretty important part of his resume.
Okay.
Did we happen to mention he's on city council here in Raleigh also?
Yeah, I knew that, but I had forgotten it. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
So because I've been in there when you were there, sure. My memory is not as good as it was. As it is not a snap breakdown like.
So we've noticed.
You didn't get the last part, did you? So unions. Teamsters refuse to endorse, and a bunch of other unions
That's
now.
a big one.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
and they're telling us why.
Yeah,
they're not endorsing Trump, mind you, as they should,
right?
Because it's showing that 60 to 70% of these union members are for Trump and against the Democrat. This hasn't been done since I believe the early 90s.
So, I actually get that. Actually, that they wouldn't.
Why?
Well, because then that allows them the ability to work with Trump under the impression that it's like, hey, we're not against you, but we ain't for you yet, right?
In other words, they want a deal.
They want to be able
Trump.
to deal.
They think they're going to get a better deal from Trump than they will from Kamala.
Well, they're going to get a better deal no matter what from Trump. But what the reason they're withholding the endorsement is so that they can be able to negotiate on these things.
It was a negotiation ploy.
Yeah, so it's
which I understand,
and I get it, and it makes perfect sense. Now they can't hold anything over his head when he gets elected. I mean, he's only got one term left,
right?
But where them withholding the endorsement becomes important is that when they deal with the Congress, they can say, okay, we didn't hurt your guy, right? But if you want us to help you, well, then here's what you're going to need to do. And so, but that's just politics. I get it. I don't have a problem with it. The non-endorsement of Harris is the bigger story here.
Yeah.
Although you're not going to see that on the lamestream.
Well, of course not. But right? It has to be really hurtful for her, which, golly, too bad, so sad.
Yeah, but the greater point there is that this is 100% about illegal immigration.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
sure, they're taking all the jobs.
So,
bingo.
So I just got back from the border. We got invited down there by a group called FAIR.
They let you back?
Well, I was tempted to go across the border and swim the river and get my $3,500
Hell
gift
yeah.
card.
What's the matter with you?
But it was one of them things like, well, I didn't bring the right shoes and that kind of stuff. But,
really? So you were staying in a luxury hotel? While you were there, right?
Luxury hotel,
yeah,
right? It was.
Where were you?
It wasn't bad.
Can you tell us where you were?
McAllen, Texas. Okay, so McAllen, Texas is for those folks who might not know where it's at. It's kind of like ground zero for this thing. The Border Patrol has one of their district offices right there in McAllen, Texas, right on the border. But here's an observation just to sort of sum it up, although there is no way to sum this up. Every conspiracy theory, crazy, wild-eyed thing that you've ever heard about the border, multiply it times 10 and you'll get real close to what the real problem is down there. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
You can't make it up.
No, I think I understand.
And it is, when you tell people what's going on down there, it's like, oh, now no way our government would allow that to happen. They are.
And they're hiding it. They got a guy from San Diego. Did you see that?
No, I don't think so
at all. He is one of the heads of the people that are trying to control the situation, and he's saying he's been told to shut up. They shut him up, and he's with the government,
right?
And they told him to shut up about how many the illegals have been let through, the getaways and people like that, and he finally had to testify before Congress.
So it's
that was yesterday.
So it's not even. I mean, the numbers are bad. The numbers are horrible. Right?
And the reasons they did this were what?
Well, I think it probably has probably a three-pronged effect. Okay, so folks are worried about them voting. Well, there's probably enough jurisdictions out there, although I'll briefly touch on that in a minute, but there's probably enough jurisdictions out there that are aware enough that that's probably not our biggest problem. And let's face it, the Democrats, if they want these people to vote, they'll vote for them, right?
Right.
That's not the end game here. Marxism and communism isn't.
Let me guess. Is it to change the population?
Electoral college. It's
Electoral
all about
college.
electoral college. They know they will never get electoral college removed from the Constitution. It just can't be done. But the way, unfortunately, probably the one loophole that was put into our Constitution, it didn't say based on citizens in your district, right? So U.S. congressional seats are divided up by population. So Missouri,
even if it's a legal population,
doesn't matter who it is, right? Because it wasn't specific. It's just that there will be a census every 10 years. And, well, actually, it doesn't say census, but that's what it means. Every 10 years. And then the seats in the United States Congress will be divided up based on population. Okay, so Missouri, without losing a single person over the last two different censuses, we've lost 2 congressional seats. We used to have 10, now we've got 8. And where did those go? Well, they went to California. And when we lost 2, they both went to California. So New York and California both are soaking up U.S. congressional seats from the hinterlands because of this, the way the Constitution was written and the way that Congress is divided up. Well, why is that important? Well, you move 12 million people, illegal people into the United States. So the average congressional seat is about 750,000 people is who they represent. Well, do the math on that. That's over 12 congressional seats, obviously, right? That's more in the 14 category. So you put 12 million people and you put them all in California, that's 14 congressional seats. Pretty soon you don't need Missouri to even enter in on the presidential race. You don't care about Wisconsin.
You've almost got a different country.
You have 2 states then that control the entire country. Yeah. And so that's what it's about. Let's face it. We're still talking about human beings with a brain. And just like what we found with the African American community, they found out that the Democrats ain't on their side.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
It's
hello. A wake up call.
Yeah.
America, there's a big wake up call here.
And so in other words, the Democrats don't want those people voting. Yeah. Shoot, they might make up their own mind, right?
Well, eventually, yeah.
Right. And so that's the situation you get into. Is that the reality here? This isn't really about them, although they can, especially in some jurisdictions, they're even encouraged to vote. They know that vote really doesn't make a difference. Let's say in a governor's race.
Yeah.
We're not going to allow that here in Missouri. And so them flooding Missouri with illegals and trying to get them to vote ain't going to happen, right? It just won't happen here in Missouri. But they can make a difference on a state Senate race.
So are you saying is that the reason why they're not sending as many illegal aliens here?
No, the reason they're not sending, the reason why the flood is kind of subsided a little bit, it's like the ocean, right? It's a wave kind of effect. The reason they're not is because it's costing them politically, right? Yeah. The Teamsters aren't endorsing Kamala Harris or a Democrat for the first time in how long?
About 33 years.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
In my lifetime, then they've endorsed a Republican or not endorsed a Democrat.
Well, probably not endorsed a Democrat. I think it was under Clinton or something like that.
I don't know. I can't think of who it was because I'm pretty sure they endorsed Clinton. But the reality here is that from the perspective of influencing elections, it really doesn't have much to do with the Senate race in California, because that's a foregone conclusion. That's going to be a Democrat,
good point,
right?
By the way, which is shocking coming from you.
Well,
do you have any comments on that, Josh?
No, I don't. I'm just learning.
You have to be careful.
Oh, you're just here.
You have to be careful. I haven't fired him yet today. So.
Well, I didn't fire him either. You worked for me too first.
Well, you said you didn't remember if you fired him.
You know what? Strangely enough, I hardly ever fire anybody. I don't know why.
Well, in today's day and age, you'll put up a lot.
I've been doing this for 5 decades, 53 years, okay? Yeah. And I don't remember firing a lot of people.
Do you remember firing me?
No, I voted for you. Why would I fire you?
No, I mean back, you
never worked for me.
Never ran for politics.
You never worked for me.
You're right, but you don't remember firing me either. Right?
Well, I probably would have known as distinctive as your personality is, and the distinctive part is the bigger part of that.
I'm meek, mild-mannered reporter.
Yeah, meek, mild-mannered.
Yeah.
Yeah, you punish me. I asked you on the show,
yes,
and it's like, why are you doing this? What did the guy in the street tell you to do this again?
Yeah.
Why are you asking me? Couldn't get anybody else? This is it. He's sending me text after text after text.
Why?
Is there a city council
is there
rule that somebody cannot, within the boundaries of Rolla, actually agitate somebody like that without cause?
Do you serve cheese with that wine?
See, listen to this. It's incredible. It's like being in a kosher restaurant.
It's like John's Jewish.
Exactly. And we meant that as a compliment.
I took it as a compliment.
I hope so.
Benjamin Netanyahu, I wish he was my president right now.
Yeah, listen to this. Oh, let me do the last thing I did with this last guy I had on. It was an interview with Netanyahu about the what do you call those things that are blowing people up?
The walkie-talkies.
Yeah, the walkie-talkies and
the
beepers.
I thought those were gone in the
beepers,
80s.
Yeah.
Right?
So they're
wild.
doing an interview, and they said they were asking Kamala
if she had a pager
about it, and no. They were asking Netanyahu. They were asking Netanyahu, did you know about what these things did, and why did you put them there? And he answered, I come from a middle class home. That was his answer. That was from Mark Levin.
So you saw that.
What?
You saw the guy from, he was the spokesperson, I don't remember, CIA or whatever, right? They said, okay, so did you guys know about this? And you noticed his answer was a lot like the kid who gets his hand caught in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, no, we had no idea this was going on.
What's going on?
We don't even know how to do that. Right? Yeah. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool, but we don't know how to do it. Shut up. Right? It is like, you guys developed
it's almost as good as you.
The only thing he's saying is, darn it, I wish we could convince, Christian right-wingers, Republicans to buy a pager, right?
Yeah, that kind of worries me too. But this is such just. They were working on that thing. I had the rabbi on earlier. They've been working on that thing for 25 years. This is like just when Gaza was invented. Yeah. Not invented, but made all Arab.
Of course, you know what happened when that started, and now all of a sudden, Motorola had all these leftover pagers from the 80s, and they finally found a market for them, right? And so then it's like, crap, now who are we going to sucker into buying these things, right? So
I don't think it happened like that. I think these Israel actually approached a company, or they approached them.
Yeah,
Israel actually partnered with this company and made money on these things. Here's the thing: the Jews made money on it. Okay,
surprise.
And 25 years later, they found a use for them. And I found a use for putting a little dynamite in there.
Of course, that's sort of what I said, I think. I mean, he just repackaged it a little bit, but that's okay.
Oh, God.
You can steal my joke.
Have you ever had a show before? He needs a show. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. So
in his spare time?
Yeah, spare time. Yeah.
When I'm driving down the highway, kind of like Seinfeld's deal, 2 men in a car or whatever that show is.
So what's the status of Amendment 3?
So Amendment 3, for those listeners out there, I think the majority of the folks that listen to your show are probably against Amendment 3. That's the abortion bill.
I figure I've got about 95% Christians listening in.
So the thing about that, folks, is that we're definitely up against it. There's last I think I heard about $28 million being spent by the other side to try to convince you. The first thing you should realize is if they're going to spend that much money to get it passed, then what are they getting out of it, right? And it's not about women's health. It has nothing to do with that. And if you actually read the amendment, and I encourage everyone to do that, please read it. Read the commentary on it. There's a lot of good folks out there, good, honest folks who have analyzed this thing, and it's replete with and it's not the codification of Roe v. Wade, because that's what they're telling people. This just puts Roe v. Wade, codifies it, right? We're not asking for anything more. That is absolutely not true. 100% not true. And you don't have to be an attorney or a state representative to read this thing and realize that. This will actually codify back alley abortions. It honestly does codify back alley abortions, because you don't even have to be a medical professional now to participate in the abortion industry.
And you're protected.
And you are protected. You can't be sued.
Yeah.
Now, that alone, I mean, you can sue your doctor for giving you the wrong medication now. Well, now we're talking about an abortion, which is, regardless of what anybody says.
Can you sue your representative?
Your representative voted. I get it now. Oh, wow. I can't believe you told a joke in the middle of that.
And I can't believe that you laughed. That you failed to see it. Oh my God!
Well, because I mean that's a serious subject, and but the reality is here is that a late term abortion is extremely dangerous procedure, and no matter where you're at on abortion,
well, late term is not just a dangerous procedure. Yeah. You're killing a born child practically. In fact, does it go after birth as well?
So
is that clear in there?
No, that is not clear in there. But we don't think it would allow for that. But the reality is that 85% of us, Democrats and Republicans alike, generally the 85% of the population is against late term abortion. Well, if you are a late term abortion, and honestly, most feeling human beings, compassionate human beings, would, once they understand what late term abortion is, they're going to be against it, right? Mm-hmm. There is no doubt you're killing a human being at that point. And how you justify that is beyond me, but that's up to that 15% of those folks out there that believe that way. So, but the reality is that 85% of folks out there, even if you are have some position other than conception, you are against this bill. This allows for unrestricted abortion up to the moment of birth, and so from that standpoint alone, will we ever address that situation in the legislature? No. Well, I shouldn't say no. As long as I'm going to be in there, probably not, because we passed the heartbeat bill, which was House Bill 126 back the first year whenever I was in the House of Representatives. And it already has protection of the mother's life. In fact, it says protection of the mother's health.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, health includes mental health. So we left, and I consider a sizable loophole,
I would say,
which allows for that doctor and that mother to have that conversation. And so all this stuff about we're throwing doctors in jail, that's bull. That is 100% bull.
So what are the main differences between Roe v. Wade and Amendment 3?
So Roe v. Wade centered, if I remember correctly, on on whether or not a woman could have an abortion, but even Roe v. Wade was restricted to the first two terms.
Yeah.
And so while I would think that is extreme by itself, it certainly didn't allow for late-term abortion.
Yeah.
And so a lot of late-term abortions that are performed as an emergency, right? Because the law, including Roe v. Wade, wasn't clear on where that line was at.
Well, it seems to me that the liberals were claiming how horrible Roe v. Wade was. They wanted to get rid of it. And now that they got rid of it, all of a sudden they're saying we want it back. Why?
Well, because the Marxists are about incremental steps, right? They when they want to move a policy along, let's face it, a lot of Republicans today are a lot like the what we would call the liberals of the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And so that when we talk about the pendulum swings in American politics, it swings left, it swings right. Well, it seems like, at least in my lifetime, it's never swung right. It swings back to the middle. And then the next time it swings left, then when it swings back, it's a little bit farther left.
That was a very, very good description.
It's all about.
I'm not on his ass.
Not every time.
Not every time.
But so it's all about the incrementalism. And if you read anything from the various authors, the proponents of Marxism, that's exactly the way they describe instituting Marxism into these countries. It's all about incrementalism. We want to start here. We want to take over the educational institutions, for instance, and then we want to demoralize.
You can measure that.
Yeah,
and it's been very successful for them.
Very successful.
Yeah.
So in countries in South America, for instance, that were fairly wealthy, because they have natural resources that
Venezuela
the world wants.
is a great example of that. Yes.
Oh, very wealthy country.
Cuba.
Cuba. Yeah. Look, now, of course, that was mafia casinos, but they had a pretty thriving economy.
Well, they had a
there.
thriving economy there.
Yeah.
Hotel business. I mean, okay, so it was the first invention after the Las Vegas, and you're doing it in a foreign country. Where you can buy off the government.
Yeah, a beautiful country.
At least easier than doing it in the United States to buy off the government.
It was Hawaii, without having to fly in a plane for 4.5 hours, right? So maybe it was the Hawaiian condo and resort owners out there that financed Castro. That's the joke, everybody. I'm not suggesting that the Hawaiian developers, financed Castro's takeover of Cuba back in the 50s.
So as a political genius, as a political genius,
say that again.
Josh,
we can give this a go.
What's your take on the massive crowds on the streets and rallies in the very blue states of New Jersey and New York for Donald Trump just within the last couple of weeks?
So I was actually talking with a constituent about that on the phone.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. He has expressed to me that a lot of Democrats are crossing over the line, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
The African American,
right?
Some Latinos, not all, but what those communities are recognizing is that the government, doesn't care about their states, doesn't, like New York, Chicago, they're shipping all the immigrants to these areas and they're giving them money. And they're giving, and not just a little bit, we're talking a lot, and in whatever form is possible. And so these crowds that you just mentioned are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Okay, your buddy over there is going like this.
I didn't take my shoes off.
Okay, so he apparently wants to be back on.
No, what? So those folks are realizing.
Okay, does Trump have a chance of flipping those big blue states?
Do I think that?
Yeah.
So those folks are realizing what all us poor people in rural areas figured out a long time ago. Remember what Reagan said? He said, the 9 scariest words you'll ever hear. I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so those folks are realizing that now. And from the standpoint of how is my life better? Now, we have recent enough history because Trump, it was only 4 years ago that Trump was in office. And every one of those demographics can say, oh, yeah, I was a lot better off with a Trump presidency than I am now.
Right.
But that demographic also, for the most part, especially in that in the demographic that's important, and then that's that above 45 age group, because those people vote fairly regularly. Even
the Jews are turning on the Democrats.
Well, they see the
they're notable liberals.
Well, they see the erosion of the moral fiber of their communities. With the talk about the transgendering of kids without parents' permission.
Yeah.
With
the anti-Semitism
that's
coming out of the Democratic
sports, anti-Semitism.
That's right.
All of these
women's
things
sports.
that we thought were ironclad.
Yeah, amazing.
Cornerstones of liberalism. Equal rights for women, equal rights for minorities, all of those things that are cornerstones, and protecting the working class. Would they watch that stuff eroding right in front of them, and they have those exact same politicians telling them, oh, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes, right? Yeah. And so then whenever they see something successful on the other side, well, then they adopt it as if it's their own, so that they can co-opt that and then turn around and not do it in the future. And I think that's what people are realizing, is that they make all of these promises to get elected, and then they never follow through, because the point wasn't to actually make it better for their constituency. The point was to get elected. And so if you back that on upstream, you can see immediately why. Joe Biden was in no way, shape, or form rich before he got into politics.
He always claimed he was the poorest senator out there.
So he spends
not anymore.
So he spends 47 years in the Senate, and now he's one of the richest men in Washington, D.C. Compounded.
How about
by
Pelosi?
Is that
same thing? Huh?
Well, I think Pelosi was actually was fairly wealthy before.
We don't even know what the deals were back in the. I believe it was in the mid 2015 area, 2014 area, because I saw pictures of Pelosi and the guy in Congress who fell asleep during Congress. I can't remember his name offhand. Huh?
Robert Byrd?
No. This guy is Nadler. He fell asleep during a hearing.
Yeah.
These people were out there walking down the street with the cartel heads. Because you know they're in with the cartel heads. Sure. How much money are they making off of them? And that's going to be an interesting investigation.
Well, that's probably the more interesting conversation. If you could keep the American people's attention for more than 30 seconds at a time, let's face it.
Well, I agree with that, but you know,
but
you got to keep plugging away.
If
people are pissed off right now.
If you're willing to do the research, now it takes a little bit of effort, but if you're willing to do the research,
listening into this kind of show,
having
a great guest like him and you.
But even with that, we have a short amount of time to spend together, and it's really hard to get into what the real problems are, in a short period of time. But it's also because we have trained folks that 30-second soundbite. If you can't condense it to that, then there's no way you're going to get your message across.
Yeah.
I would implore the listeners to please read this thing on Amendment 3.
Yeah,
don't let the marijuana amendment get into our Constitution. Read this thing. If you have questions, get them answered before you vote for it.
Okay.
Now I tell people all the time in politics, if you're on city council or if you're on school board or whatever, that if you are unsure about a particular thing you're voting for, then your vote is no, because you can always fix a no, but you can never fix a yes.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. It's too late then.
All right. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and contribute?
So they can get involved in making contributions by getting in touch with the campaign committee. At my campaign committee is Donald B. Mayhew, FSR. You can catch me on Facebook whenever I'm on there. Admittedly, I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but you can be consumed by the social media that's out there. I don't post very often on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I do watch probably too much of X, but to try to get me caught up to date, because it seems like it's about the only place you can get.
Okay,
even kind of.
I got to get going because I got another. I have a taped interview with Jeff Zink. Look at it. What do you call a paternity suit in Iraq?
You got me on this one.
Who's your bag daddy? All right, I'm sorry, but I do have another guest, and he is a solid. It's Jeff Zink.
Yeah,
and the guy's going to be in court today with the judge to get his son out of trouble with the January 6/21 deal. He was convicted. Now all the felonies have been dropped, but the persecution is still trying to weasel in there. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Josh, good to see you.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Good to see you, Dave.
Okay, good to see you. Okay, so we're done with all the commercials, and Mayhew and Josh have willfully gone through their punishment. Thank you so much. Leave money on the door. Step over. No, I guess that's not going to work. Okay, so let's play. This is from Jeff Zink, who maybe will be in court right now. Let's play his interview.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, kinesiologist running for Congress in Maricopa County in Arizona knows how the elections were stolen in 22 and 20. And the founder of Forensic Election Audits, please welcome all the way from Arizona, Jeff Zink. Well, you're going to court, and you got a hearing tomorrow. That's why you couldn't appear live on Friday, and you're going to be there with Ryan Zink, your son, and
Yep.
he was, and maybe is still, your campaign congressional media staffer. So what are you looking forward to in this particular hearing?
Well, what we hope is that it's going to get settled. That the judge is going to rule. What we're best case scenario is time served, no fines, no restitution, no probation, and we can put this behind us. I'm not sure that that's going to happen because the judges on a regular basis have persecuted the people on the right while letting a lot of the people on the left out. I mean,
Yeah.
they slap on the wrist, they drop their charges, they have $35 to $50 fines for them, and so we're hopeful that now that it's been 3.5 years past this event, that we're starting to have more and more evidence showing that there were more players in play. But the fact is that you can't put somebody else's actions and make someone else pay for those actions, and that's what we're hoping is that the rule of law actually is prevalent here instead of the color of law, which is they just make it up and do whatever they want, and the right gets nailed to the wall while the left gets off scot-free.
I think the judge may be in no position other than to fully exonerate Ryan. It's his choice. Don't give him any reason right now to go back on how he handled himself before. And also, he struck down the prosecutors in their attempt to give Ryan a conviction that he didn't deserve.
Exactly. In fact, the prosecution's grandiose idea is that he will serve on count 2, which is entering and remaining on restricted building or grounds, serve a year's sentence in prison and pay $100,000 fine. And then on count 3, disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, that he serves a year's prison and up to $100,000 fine. So the two prison 1-year sentences don't serve at the same time. They have suggested that they serve them consecutively. So he'll serve 1 year for one count, another year for the other count, and pay the $200,000 fine. And they also are asking for him to pay retribution of $12,000. It was $179. That's the exact amount that Ryan received on his GiveSendGo account that helped pay for his legal services.
Let's talk about the grounds, because you can prove that he was never in the building. But the grounds are the cap. I mean, this is the Capitol People's House. How can they say the grounds are are illegal to stand on?
Well, and also we had a permit to be where we were at. So the area that when we left that area to go forward in Ryan's trial, they had tried 65 times to get the video that I was able to get in under my testimony, which was just to the left of us. There was a gentleman on a bullhorn that was saying, everybody hold on, everybody hold on. They're working with us now to get us up to the Capitol.
Who's working with them?
So this
was that the
a guy
Capitol
that
Police?
was working with the Capitol Police.
Exactly.
And
so
then
you
the
had
Capitol
agents of the
Police-
government helping people to get into the Capitol.
Exactly. And they say that the other thing too is that they use the word breach on the door of where we were at. Now that is a 17-foot bronze door that is magnetically locked. It was released from the inside. We've proven that it was released on the inside, and it was opened up. In their own testimony, they stated that Ryan climbed up on a pillar and used his camera to look inside the Capitol to see what was going on inside the Capitol. All right. So by their own definition, they have proven that he never entered into the Capitol through their own evidence that they presented. Yet Ryan was guilty of the 1512 C2, which is an accounting deal that was overturned by the Supreme Court that said he didn't damage a record, a document, or an object. So therefore, he cannot be charged with that, nor any of the J6ers be charged. So the Supreme Court ruled and tossed that out. And so now they're coming hard on all of these misdemeanors.
Why the hell aren't they getting the hint from the Supreme Court? I mean, the Supreme Court can't possibly take everything into consideration. Are they tone deaf to their own Supreme Court?
Well, the thing is that we still have Ryan's case on appeal, and he knows that it's going on appeal. So the fact that they're doing this sentencing, he would have the opportunity to say, you know what, in retrospect, we've looked at this, and I've looked at the evidence since the 1512 C2 has been dropped. We're going, he could drop all those charges and Ryan walk away scot-free and not even, be charged with anything. If we so chooses. We don't think that's going to happen. We think that it's going to be time served, and just we're done. You're charged with these counts, and then what we'll do is we'll go to the appellate court, and we will then at that point have Boasberg brought before the appellate court because he has to appear now, and so and then we will be testifying to the appellate court as to what is taking place, what was going on, have them look at that, and then they can overturn this case themselves and have him, walk away with no charges or anything else, which is what we're hoping.
Well, he ought to do it. He knows now that this thing is falling apart all over the country. People understand this is complete, utter BS. It was intentional, and you've got Hamas protesters who have been in there just recently, causing in the same Capitol that they were getting arrested and all that stuff. Is any one of them sitting there in jail and or on trial?
No.
How about the people? How about the all the problems that they were having in federal buildings in Seattle, in Minnesota, in Wisconsin? Where are these people sitting in jail somewhere?
No, those were the ones that got their charges dropped, and a $35 to $50 fine was only levied against them.
Now let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the campaign. We've had our second assassination try, in a very short period of time. It's gotten to the point now where Trump has said golf is a dangerous sport. And he's also joking about he should have taken him out with his 3-wood, But this is getting over the top, and Trump is getting blamed. It's his fault, in other words. And I mean, they will not let up on this talk that says it's okay to eliminate President Trump. They're just
when you have the left, who for everybody who has ever gone on X, there's a great video of all of the left that says we need to shoot him. He needs to be taken out and shot. He needs to be beaten.
That's Biden. You're quoting Joe Biden right there. Take him out behind the schoolhouse and beat him. Okay.
And so that rhetoric is what is attributing to this ideology of it's okay to have your left-wing nuts that are out there, and we've had 2 of them that have now gone after President Trump. We've also had a major failing of our Secret Service where they have protected our president after he's had a bullet shot at him. The thing is that they knew about both of these men and chose to, wait until after they had put bullets down range towards our president. And so this is one of the things that's very concerning. And if it was happening to the left, I can assure you that there would be such an outrage that, they would be coming after everybody.
Yeah.
But the idea is that, again, we have to elect, godly men and women that are for the rule of law, that will reestablish that. I was asked just the other day in an interview that, what am I going to do to reach across the aisle to get bipartisanship? Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm not going to. I'm not reaching across the aisle. That the left have nothing to offer that I would be willing to reach across the aisle for. The thing is that they want open borders. They want to shut down our drilling. They want to eliminate gas cars. They want electric cars. They want high gas prices. They are allowing Chinese to buy up our farmland. We have a person who does not know anything about farming that has the highest acreage of farmland, Bill Gates, and he's not doing any farming. He's literally single-handedly going to make America starve again.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we've got to do is get into Congress and to go after Zuckerberg, who interfered in an election by changing the outcome of suppressing Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah. But he's apologized.
Yeah.
He's apologized. Very interestingly. Let me talk about the election a little bit. Last night, or yesterday, the steam fitters and the Teamsters, who are saying they have 60 to 70% of their people in their unions are backing Trump in New York, and he had a rousing. The streets were filled with people watching Trump go into this rally. And I've never seen a more excited group of people in New York. And it was just like that in New Jersey. Is it looking more and more like a Trump win, maybe even a landslide?
Well, and that's where what we're doing is that we're looking and talking to people and making sure that they understand, and especially the Democrats that are swing Democrats that are now moving away from the Democratic Party, not because they are moving from the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party has moved away from them, as what Bobby Kennedy Jr. has stated. These are things that are prevalent. Well, we need to sit down and we need to make sure that they vote down ballot.
Yeah.
That you can't just put President Trump into the White House and then vote all of the Democrats in the House of Representatives and the Senate, because now you have the two branches going against the one branch and nothing gets done. Now, I know that at the beginning we had a Republican House and a Republican Senate and a Republican president in the first 2 years that Trump was in office. But the rhinos, which are literally Democrats that have infiltrated into the Republican Party, we pretty much now know who they are, and we've started kicking them out.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we zeroed in on here in Maricopa County was the fact that we had someone that was cheating, and I've called him out several times, Stephen Richard, which is the Maricopa County recorder. Well, the thing is that he lost his primary, so
Cool.
he's no longer going to be
Cool.
the Maricopa County recorder. We have Justin Heap, who is going to run as the Republican aspect, and he has been put in there and has been told very quickly, we will impeach you, we will remove you if you choose not to make this a fair election and to make sure that you do your job as a county recorder, that we the people will come after and impeach you and remove you, and we'll put somebody else in there.
Okay, final question. Forensic audit. You're actually the man that developed the forensic audit for elections.
Well, technically, no. That
No?
was Doug Logan and,
Okay.
and Steve. And
But you've
Steve
certainly
Robinson
utilized it to
and,
the effect that you understand how elections are stolen and have been stolen. Is Trump ready for this? Is he ready to with his all these people that he's hired to be involved in the election? Is he ready to challenge these people?
Oh, absolutely. I
Good.
think that making it too big to rig, where you get a massive amount of people out to vote, even when they do try to cheat. You know, the what I always go back to are the precincts in Texas where we
Yeah.
didn't even have to use a ballot or anything. That we proved that they had 105, 120, and 123% turnout
Yeah.
in those precincts. Well, you can only have 100%, and this is exactly what President Trump is saying about too big to rig. We
All
need
right.
to make sure.
We're gonna end it there. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and contribute?
Absolutely, you can go to thinkzink.vote. So that's think. My last name is Z as in zebra, INK.vote. So thinkzink.vote.
And I am a contributor, by the way. All right, we're back on the Dave Weinbaum Show. That was Jeff Zink, and because I used one joke with him that I just used on my last guest, I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. I just refuse to do it, which I've managed to do just now. My wife is back. JP's here. We got about 7 minutes, roughly. And I didn't thank my the guy that does the bits and the clips, Rick Henderson, and I want to thank him. And let's see, what else do I want to announce? Vote.
We'd love it if all
Yes.
listeners would give us a little thumbs up on our show, or
Yes,
share,
please.
or all the above. That would help us greatly.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
stay in touch. Make your comments known to me. Like it, don't like it. It doesn't matter. I like to hear from you. And I'm going to keep sending you stuff through the week. I've done a lot more of that, and we're growing. We had a great audience last week, possibly the best one ever. We're spreading out. Rumble's starting to hit. We're on YouTube, and whenever you start something out, it takes a little while. And we're with the help of the the group here, and with my wife Lisa and JP, we're moving it along. So I want you to play the last couple of things about that we opened the show with. We didn't get to many of the clips. You did 1 and 2. Do 3 and 4. All right.
Taylor Swift, who apparently endorsed Carmela Harris just the other day, will have, I know. I'm not here to endorse Taylor Swift, trust me. Will this have an effect? What's the significance of this?
I don't know whether it will have an effect. I mean, supposedly some 350,000 people have rushed to some website to register to vote or to express interest in potentially doing that. But young people don't generally vote. And I don't think people who at this point in the election cycle had not registered to vote are not going to do it because of Taylor Swift. But let's set that to the side. Screw you, Taylor Swift. That's how I would like to begin. This woman has got she's a billionaire. I saw her amazing mansion in Rhode Island. I went to some hotel there, and there it is up on a cliff. You've never seen a more beautiful home. She's got so many gifts thanks to all of you. Thanks to your daughters, who you probably had to drag to her concerts, and you want to make your daughter happy, and so you didn't. And it's true whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. And how does she thank this nation? She turns around. Not only does she pick a side in a hotly contested presidential election, alienating at least half of her fan base, but she says the reason she's voting for Kamala Harris is because of Tim Walz's LGBTQ stance. Do you know what Tim Walz has done on the LGBTQ front? Let me tell you what's going to happen. Okay? Here's what's going to happen. A little girl sitting in Wisconsin who's maybe on the spectrum, maybe has acne, maybe is a little heavy set, maybe feels upset because the parents are getting divorced, something like that, is going to find herself down a rabbit hole on Reddit. And her parents aren't going to know because they're getting a divorce and they're not focused on her right now. Reddit's going to tell her she's actually a boy. And she's going to get sucked into this gender cult. And she's going to say, Mom and Dad, I want puberty blockers into cross-sex hormones, which will sterilize her and deprive her of all sexual pleasure for the rest of her life. And they're going to say, no, you're a girl. And she's going to say, but I want top surgery, this benign thing, this double mastectomy where I'll have tubes coming out of me and I'll never breastfeed a child. I want that too, because I'm a boy. And they're going to say no. And she's going to go to a judge in Minnesota. And because of Tim Walz, the court will take custody of her, use the Medicaid funds in Minnesota to provide her all of those things, chop off her breasts, sterilize her with the puberty blockers into the cross-sex hormones. And when this girl inevitably comes to the conclusion that she didn't want any of this, that it only added to her problems, which were the divorce and the acne and the puberty and not any trans issue, who is she going to go to then? That's what Minnesota is doing right now to little girls and boys, taking custody away from the parents so that they can have these procedures without any loving parent there to help. And that's what Taylor Swift just endorsed for your children. So screw you, Taylor Swift.
That is, first of all, thank you for saying that. And pardon my ignorance. This is one of those topics that's so upsetting to me. I have too many children, I think. They can take custody?
Yeah. There's a law that Tim Walz signed that says the court can take jurisdiction, which in this instance means custody, over minor children who are not getting the gender-affirming care, which is a lie. There's only two sexes. Gender's bullshit. There's men and there's women. One cannot become the other.
Okay, we're just about ready to go. We got about 2 minutes left. And I wanted to thank Rick Henderson, who I forgot to mention earlier. He does all the bits and the clips. Thank you, Rick. He's out there somewhere in Salem. And do we have anything else on the board that I didn't get to? I think we might have had a little problem with something. Shannon Reed. I can't. What is that?
Hand clap. That was during.
Oh, hand clap
during Don Mayhew.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Shannon. Do we have any more?
Have a great weekend from Shannon.
All right. Well, have a great weekend
too,
yourself, Shannon. Thank you for being a fan of the show. And what else do we got? Anything?
That was it.
All right. Well, like I said, I thought we had a few glitches, but it looks like we had a good audience again today. And with all the other places, this show is actually growing as I get older. And I thought it was a really interesting show, especially, everything was. What wasn't interesting? The rabbi talking about the lasers now that are going to be taking over for the rockets that made up the Iron Dome.
And please say a prayer for Jeff Zink and Ryan that they find favor with the judge today.
Yeah, and this is the anniversary of JP's father dying.
Yeah, that was Wednesday, but 3 years Wednesday. Yeah, it's gone by quickly. So yeah.
All right, and we got we got a weekend coming up. It looks like it's going to be hotter than hell, but that's what they made golf for, not for shooting presidents, by the way. And what I can tell you is this, and we're going to be, I'm going to be studying this stuff as much as I can to give you the best thing we can do, and that is giving you a great show. I'll be back with another show next Friday at 8 o'clock a.m.